Hi, Sarah Childress back with you. I just saw the perfect double feature and I wanted to share it with you. She Said and Glass Onion, in that particular order. Now, taking a cue from Glass Onion, if you'd like to puzzle out for yourself why this is such a cool double feature, then please do so. But please come back and watch this video and, most importantly, share your comments. But for the rest of you, come with me and I'll be delighted to tell you why I think this is such a great double feature. Or I should say maybe an instructive double feature. Now, it was really happenstance that I happened to see these two films on the same day in this particular order, but I'm really glad I did. Because I have to admit that at the end of She Said, I was feeling a little dissatisfied maybe, but definitely peevish. Now, as you might know, I enjoy watching films directed by women filmmakers that feature women protagonists because, well, who doesn't enjoy seeing themselves and their perspective represented on film? And this particular film would seem to fit that bill beautifully. It's directed by a woman, it features a screenplay written by women, adapted from a book written by women. And the story really features two intrepid New York Times journalists, Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey, as they break the Harvey Weinstein scandal and really begin to uncover the sexual violence endemic within the Hollywood film industry. And it is a ripping journalistic yarn, kind of in the vein of All the President's Men and Spotlight, as it shows the two women who are also wives and mothers cultivate sources, gather documentary evidence, and also support the victims who have to make the really difficult decision to come out and go on the record with their experiences. I mean, as you might know, the film has what we might call a Hollywood happy ending. I mean, the journalists get their story, a major perpetrator is convicted, and a movement begins, as the end text reminds us. And I think it was the triumphal tone of these encapsulations that really kind of stuck in my craw. I mean, it's as if the film wants us to believe that the world was forever changed by these women, by all the women who came forward and spoke out. But I can tell you, and you probably know, that the world hasn't changed. I mean, sexual violence, sexual discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual assault, those are all things woven into the fabric of our society. And they're woven into that fabric and into our culture because all of these things involve power and the struggle for power. I mean, let's face it, men still hold the preponderance of power in the world. And part of this power involves access and another part created realities. And now that I think about it, this is an interesting kind of chicken and egg dilemma. Because generally power comes from a created reality. I mean, it involves real things like railroads, industries, online retailers, media empires, and from the infrastructures and employees that make all of these things. But it also involves a soft power element, a kind of corporate culture or branding. So let's take Harvey Weinstein. He's a great example. I mean, he and his brother founded Miramax, and in doing so, changed the landscape of independent and art house filmmaking forever. And Miramax became a major industry player with offices around the world and thousands of employees. Weinstein became a major power broker with the ability to make or break careers, and he knew that. The interesting thing is, so did everyone else. They believed it. They acted on it. And that's why and how Harvey Weinstein was able to stay in power for decades and abuse his power for decades. But this created reality isn't really something that She Said goes into. It's where really the film falls short, but where Glass Onion comes charging in like a candy-coated, earth-shattering corrective to the shortfall, because it takes a hard look at the infrastructures that create power and shore up power. Because in it, Rian Johnson really peels back so beautifully these layers of power, and in fact makes power the central mystery. How it's created, how it's maintained, and potentially how it's destroyed. So if we think about how affable tech billionaire bro Miles Braun, I mean, we see him over the course of the film, or I should say, it's revealed over the course of the film how he steals power, he seeds lies to create particular kinds of realities, he buys silence, and he destroys people's lives. But just as the film gleefully parses each of these villainies, it also puts front and center all the ways that the people around Miles gave him power by giving him power over them. And then how these kind of diminished people exerted their limited power by diminishing and demeaning people sort of on their level, thereby pushing them down into a lower power bracket. I mean, at the end of She Said, I was mad. I was mad at the film. I was mad at the world. I mean, I knew it had scratched the surface of something, but it really hadn't gotten into the depths. I mean, despite its triumphal ending, I knew things hadn't changed. I knew this film wouldn't change things. And it kind of felt, as a result, like I wanted to burn down this world, like burn it down and start from scratch, get rid of these corrupted and polluted infrastructures and the ways of thinking and being and the ways of giving away your power. But then I was able to experience Glass Onion, and it scratched that itch. I mean, not only because of its wonderful, shall we say, flamboyant ending, but also just for the way that it so rightly and astutely just does deal with that glass onion that is power, all the different layers, all the different things that are involved in creating that power, but also the fragility of that power. If those of us who are involved in creating it decide to shatter it as well. And that's why these two films together were a really instructive double feature. I hope you enjoy.